extremely innovative, or just plain ugly? Hello ladies and gentlemen, hope you're having a great day and welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. Today, we are going to hop in the DeLorean and head back 20 years to look at a Tundra that no one seems to ever talk about. And that is the 2003 stepside Tundra that many of you may not even know exists. This was a truck that looked very unique, and the reason I say innovative is it had things that people are still asking about to this day, 20 years later on the Tundra, and that is some form of bumper or side steps to get to the bed easier. Well, Toyota did it back in 2003, an access cab Tundra with steps on the side. Many of you, when you see these pictures, will remember this truck. It had a very unique rear end on it. It almost looked like it was the same tail light situation as the Toyota Solara car. That's what I always thought of when I saw it. But this was what was available in 2003. It wasn't the only thing available. They also had a regular box Tundra that looked like your typical pickup truck. But this was something a little bit different. What was offered on this truck at the time? You had two different engine options. You had a 3.4 liter V6 or the Premier 4.7 V8. All right, and that was a legendary engine. Absolutely was, an excellent engine from beginning to end. We saw the end of it in the Tundra after the 2009 model year, where it was replaced by the 4.6 liter brand new secondary engine to Tundra. But at the time, this 4.7 V8 was the premier engine, and it had a 4-speed transmission in this truck as well. Now, when it comes to this step-side Tundra, you could get it in 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. Keep that in mind. And you could get it in SR5 or limited. But it was the access cab, the smaller cab at the time. Clamshell doors, and it had the 6.5-foot bed. All right, and some other stats on this truck. It could tow just under 7,000 pounds with that 4.7 liter 4-speed automatic transmission once again. And pricing. I always like to talk about pricing. Think of the prices of today's Tundras. We see some upwards of $100,000 with markups. All right, but say the median of Tundra cost right now is probably in the mid-50s. Well, the beginning of the build of this truck, if you were to get, say, SR5 2-wheel drive, was around $24,585. And if you max it out, limited 4-wheel drive with the big 4.7 liter V8 engine, $27,915. When it comes to the interior look of these trucks, if you remember, Tacoma and Tundra, they pretty much looked the same when it came to the interior. There were small little feature differences, but if you owned a Toyota back in this time period, late 90s, early 2000s, all the interiors kind of looked like this. This was more about functionality. This was long before all the quality features that you see in today's trucks, like heated seats, big infotainment screens. This thing had a CD player, and this thing was meant to work. But overall, when we look at the truck, I always like the look of the first-gen Tundra. I'm always a big fan of that. My brother's father-in-law owned a 2006 Limited, and it was a great driving experience, and it had the regular bed, of course. The step side was 03 and 04. And please remember, it was not the only Tundra. A lot of people think this was just the Tundra offering of that time period. There was the regular one with the regular box on the back as well. I want to keep saying that just so you know. But when we look at the side of this, you will see just in front of the rear wheels, you have those steps to get easy access to your bed. I like the idea of that. And I like the idea of a little more area to step on the bumper. My question to Toyota at the time would be, what's up with those taillights? I'm not a huge fan of that. I think they could have did the step side with regular taillights. I'm sure many of you will agree with me. But I always felt like the first generation Tundra was a beautiful, functional truck. And this was just Toyota taking a stab at doing something a little bit different and making the truck a little more desirable. You got to remember, this was when the Tundra was just really coming in to that half-ton scene. And people always say the first gen was never a real true half-ton. It was a little bit smaller than some of the competitors out there. So, it took a big run in 2007 with that redesign, but they were doing little things here and there. And with that legendary Toyota reliability, which was absolutely apparent back then in these times, pushed some people to this truck. But I want to know from you, the viewer, what you think about that bed. I've shown you a few different angles. Once again, it's only access cab. You can't get it with the double cab. It's a 6.5 foot bed, so you do get that size to do the work. And thankfully, it is offered with the premier 4.7 liter V8 engine, or if you don't want to spend that money and you want to get something with a little less power, 3.4 liter V6. 20 years ago, this was the truck. And 20 years later, like I said in the beginning of the video, people are still wanting some kind of a step, integrated step in the bumper, kind of like Chevy, but just showing you, Toyota did do it on the side of the truck back in 2003, 20 years ago. And the funny part is, as we said, a loaded up limited, what was that price? $27,915 then. We're a loaded up limited today, depending on how you get it. There's a lot more options, a lot more features, a lot more configurations, but you're around 65 grand, 70 grand. So in 20 years, the price has gone way up. But want to hear what you guys think about that stepside Tundra that was available for those couple model years. If there was no such thing as today's Tundra, and we had the 03/04 first generation Tundra, would you get that stepside, or would you get the regular first generation Tundra? Really can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Let's have some fun, talk about this stepside, and a tougher question for you. How would you like to see Toyota integrate some form of steps in today's Tundra, in the new generation Tundra? Where would you like to see some integrated steps? Would you like to see just the bumper, something on the side, something that folds out? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook at TundraDude34, TundraDude34 at gmail.com. You guys have a great one. Be safe and be well.